Hello, Stephen.
Hello. It's very nice to see Esra. Very nice to participate in this wonderful project that you're doing. When I get together with a person like you that I have this kind of philosophical connection with, you can't tell what new ideas will come out. We already have experienced some really good ideas in the past, and we might get into some of those today, but I don't know what more might come out today.
So, shall we start? So far, we made it in life thanks to our philosophy and also love and consciousness. And what else you can add for that?
The philosophical and the spiritual traditions that I have learned from, most of them emphasize being conscious. There was a book by Ram Dass just called Be Here Now. And that's about the best advice I've ever heard of. And the second best advice I've ever heard came from Jesus. Love your neighbor as yourself. And I see those as the most important parts of my life. And hopefully they get more important. Hopefully I do better at them. But that's really, those are two basic starting points, I would say. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Because one of the philosophical traditions they laid on me was Rene Descartes. And Descartes really says, just look inside yourself. That's where you have to begin. And maybe people out there, maybe it's all an illusion. No, there are other people out there. And my consciousness of myself really involves my consciousness of my awareness of other people. I don't learn anything if I confine myself to just being conscious of me here now. There's more to it than that. And that's why love is equally important as consciousness. Yes, consciousness of myself, consciousness of those I love.
Yeah. And also, that brings my mind that um, when we go for the retreats, including noble silence, we stay like more than 10 days in noble silence without looking into each other's eyes and without talking to each other. We talk through is about ourselves, but the self in us. And when we are not connected to others, how can we perceive ourselves? So, do we need to be perceived by other people for us to be ourselves? What do you think about that?
It's a good question because even not very long ago, much later than those times when we talked in the past, but not long ago, I went on a retreat like that. And when I got there, I learned uh, okay, you can talk to each other today, but tomorrow morning and for the rest of the retreat, no talking. And I was not prepared for that. And eventually I said, this is crazy. I'm going to go home. And I did. Um, well, I probably shouldn't have because I can get a lot of value from a retreat that just has rules like that. I think there are difficulties, which I experienced, but there are also benefits. And if I'm ready for it, okay. But okay, I will get the benefits out of that kind of retreat. And I think you told me that you got a real benefit from a silent retreat for 10 days. Mine wasn't 10 days.
Yeah, I did them several times, like in India, in the USA, in Bali, different countries. And um, for me, I remember my first one, it was like 8 or 9 years ago. I was like very young. And I remember like after 10 days, it was so hard for me to get out of the space I created in myself, in my mind, in my consciousness, and, you know, break it. It was like a break in a fast. Break it in order to speak my thoughts with other person. I was like, this is so cheesy, actually. I mean, do I need to contribute to other people by speaking? Are there any ways? Right after that retreat in noble silence for 10 days, I went to stay in an ashram, but it was in a Amish village. So
Mm.
next to an Amish village, actually. It was
Hmm.
a slaughter-free dairy farm. So we were doing a camp there, and I remember when I look at the like a cow's eyes, I felt like, wow, this is like interesting because you are me and I'm you. We are not different. And when I look at the leaves like in the trees in that farm, I was like, in the moment, I see that they are like, dancing in the air with the wind. And I feel that, yeah, that's me as well. I'm not different than those. I'm not different and surrounding in my field, in my area, in my space. In terms of like solid molecule, I might be perceived as a different object, but it's only our perception. It is only like our senses. Our
Hmm.
nerves perceive it in that sense. We have that knowledge. The objects are firm and solid. On the other side, they're just like dancing within themselves. All the electrons or the atoms,
Yes,
like atomic particles. And
that's
I'm not
right.
different than all those objects. When we fall down, we feel that hurt because of our nerves, like neurotransmitter, giving us a message that, oh, there's a pain here, be careful because body is very clever and gives us messages for us to stay alive all the time.
That's right. There are different things I can be conscious of.
Yeah.
I had just been thinking about two forms of meditation. One is focused on breathing in order to keep conscious of me, my body, my emotion, my thoughts, everything going through my mind and my body. The other one is called Metta,
Yeah.
and that focuses on nourishing my ability to love other people. That tells me a lot. Now, to come back to the point you were raising, all around me there are living creatures, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
And yet I I usually forget that, just like I forget to be fully aware and I forget to nourish my love. But for example, right now I'm aware of tables and chairs in my living room, but looking out the window, there are trees. And though there's a big difference. The trees are alive. And usually I forget that. I treat them like furniture. They are living beings.
I'm a big tree hugger.
And they're doing a better job than I am. There are trees that have been around for 1,000 years, not me. So, I should give them some credit. I should be aware of them. And I love your idea of looking into the eyes of non-human animals. Of course, they are conscious of me. They've got their own perceptions. Let's respond to them on their terms. I can put my arms around that tree, and I can respond to that cow in a way it's always been hoping a human being would respond to it in a loving way. I like that idea. There are plants and animals in addition to tables and chairs.
Yeah, and also I've learned a couple things. One is about clarity in vision. Our optical nerves always working over there, right? When we move forward, our optical nerves receive so many stimuli and
Mm.
perception changes accordingly. And one thing I recently experienced, we went for a hiking in the mountains. I fell down into a natural pool. My friend stepped on my eyeglasses. Like I lost my clarity in vision. And then I continued walking. My optical nerves are looking for stimuli. And there are, things coming and I can't see it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? There might be clarity in blur as well, in the pixel forms. Look at that. Perceive it with your heart. What did you see? I will just give myself a permission to feel it, to sense it. and trust my intuition, what my intuition tells me right now, what my consciousness tells me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't step forward because I hurt my foot very badly, and I can't see what is coming from future. I can still let myself intuitively sense the things and perceive the things, what's going on around my surroundings. It was quite an eye opener for me.
Right. That's right. In a way, what we've been talking about is perceiving with the heart,
Yeah.
the deepest part of me, the part that is able to love, the part that is able to see who I really am, not just my superficial silliness, but the real me. And I can perceive with my heart. Perception, the five senses, gives me consciousness of the world outside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to add that to my list. Be conscious, be loving, and be thankful. And I have found that
To be continued in the next episode. Stay tuned and subscribe for more.